Back, the Judicial Services Commission has been tasked to fill vacancies in some of the country's high courts. There is a total of 14 vacancies, which includes a constitutional court vacancy, and other 34 candidates were eventually shortlisted. The interviews will be held from today and will last for a few days. Joining us from our Cape Town studios in Parliament is our reporter Lukhanyo Calata, and he's going to tell us more about these vacancies and the interviews scheduled to take place today. Lukhanyo, sawubona buti unjani? Thank you very much, Lukhanyo, for your time. Now, just please take us back to when the interviews process began and who are the shortlisted candidates now?
Well, the interview firstly, let me start by saying that the Judicial Services Commission is obviously tasked with the responsibility of interviewing judges and then recommending their names so that the president can appoint magistrates, judges, and people within the judicial services, of course. And I think the JSC sits twice every year in a process that's open. The public can go and attend the interviews. We can broadcast them, for instance. And these interview rounds, there's two of them a year. One is in April, and then the other one is roundabout in October. And obviously, this one is the first one for the year. They are interviewing for 14 posts, as you've mentioned. There are 34 candidates that have been shortlisted. Now, obviously, because of what's happening and what's expected in Parliament today, the JSC will unfortunately not be sitting today. What they did do, however, is that they started sitting yesterday afternoon, where they did the interviews for at least to fill two vacancies in the Eastern Cape, and also to fill two vacancies within the Supreme Court of Appeal. Now, the reason why they're not sitting today is largely got to do with the fact that the JSC also comprises members of Parliament. And those members of Parliament are required to be in Parliament today. The ANC has got a big caucus meeting taking place. In the afternoon, there's the debate as well as a vote on a motion by the Democratic Alliance to remove President Jacob Zuma. So it's quite a busy day in Parliament today, and therefore MPs will be required to be here. So they couldn't obviously fulfill their duties sitting on the JSC, and that's why the JSC won't unfortunately be sitting today.
But now has another date perhaps been set for the interviews?
Yes, they're continuing for the rest of the week. I spoke to their spokesperson, Advocate Dumisani Nsebeza, a little bit earlier on, and he's telling me that they went till after midnight last night, as they were obviously trying to make up for the time lost today. And then tomorrow, he said that they'll start at about 8:30 in the morning, and then they'll carry on right up after 8 o'clock in the evening tomorrow night. So they're likely to pull a 12-hour shift tomorrow, once again in an effort to make up for the time that is lost today. The JSC will continue to sit right up until Friday, I think, because they must go through all 34 candidates that have been shortlisted for interview. So they are going to use up the rest of the week to try and make up for the day that's lost today.
Now, Lukhanyo, have you perhaps been able to talk to some of the shortlisted candidates? Because we are aware that each candidate is going to be allocated 40 minutes during the interview. Do they think 40 minutes will be sufficient enough for them to express themselves?
Look, this is the JSC. They've obviously gone through this process on more than one occasion, and we've actually witnessed, interviews in the past. I can remember clearly sitting through an interview where Advocate Jeremy Gauntlet was being interviewed for a position that was open on the bench in the Western Cape High Court. And I mean, 40 minutes maybe is short enough. Maybe it's a little bit short, but I think obviously the JSC would have decided that this is sufficient time for them to get to find out as much as they need to about a candidate to be able to make up their minds on whether or not that candidate is a good enough judge. Look, I mean, if you're good enough, then 40 minutes is sufficient time. I'm sure you could make up your mind within 10 minutes after, if you were in that position to say, okay, cool. Within 10 minutes, you'd know whether or not someone is make a good judge, or whether that person will at least whether they'd be a good judge. I think the decision was made by the JSC, and I think it was good enough for them.
Well, Lukhanyo, we're going to have to leave it right there. He is a reporter in Parliament, Lukhanyo Calata, talking to us about the vacancies the interviews for the vacancies of the highest courts in the country that were supposed to be scheduled today but postponed due to the events that are to take place in Parliament later today. While we're taking a break, when we come back, we say goodbye to our SABC